Oh,
it's happening.
Welcome to the Open Color Podcast. I am Corey Bullis with Michelle Sheth, Ryan Karkner. This is episode 21 of the show. Just throw a quick shout out to our live stream viewers on YouTube, youtube.com/GoVNC. Thanks for watching. And to all of our listeners on our podcast platforms, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing. If you shared, if you haven't, do that now.
I even shared.
What?
Yeah. Surprising.
Yeah.
If there's one person who never shares, it's you.
It was in a stupor last night at about 11:30. I was like, yeah, I'll throw it a share.
He was in between glasses of chocolate milk.
There's no in between. It's just a perpetual.
Hook it to my veins.
It's an ongoing thing.
Okay, so what has everyone been up to since the last show? Ryan, you were off last week, partaking in some NFL, I'm assuming? No, you were working.
I was working. And
we're following the tweets of the NFL.
Trying to. I try to be.
How did my Browns do? Oh wait,
they tied,
which was like almost a victory, right?
It basically is a win for the Browns.
That's what I said. Best start since 04.
They haven't won since what, 2017 or something? One of the games.
Well, last year was 2017.
Yeah,
they were winless.
They were winless.
2016.
2016.
Yeah, when they went 1-15, I think.
There you go.
So Browns are off to. They're undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated. That's not bad. And they came back, right? It was a 20-7 or something. They came back.
They did. I had money on the Steelers, and your Browns ruined it for me. So thanks, Michelle.
Oh, those Brown people.
Hey.
You mean people who like the Cleveland Browns, right?
That's right. The Browns people.
Mm.
We'll edit that out.
There's not many of us, but we live mostly in India.
The Cleveland Brown fans?
No, just the brown Cleveland Brown fans.
the brown fans?
Yeah, exactly.
Watching cricket. That's big over there, is it? Is it like that in soccer?
Big.
Cricket more so than.
I don't think they do baseball. I think they just
cricket is much more the national sport.
Yeah, there's that Canadian Tire commercial where the kid plays baseball with a bunch of Caucasian kids.
Yeah,
and he hits a dinger, and it's like, oh, I thought you never played baseball. Basically, calling the kid out, calling him a liar. It's like, oh, I played cricket. It's like, oh, okay, but you didn't mention that the whole time.
The whole time, yeah.
Get him.
Yeah, you didn't say, oh, this sport is basically an Americanized version of cricket. No, he just kept it to himself and hit a dinger, blindsided everybody. What a dick.
It's a ringer.
Love those dingers from those ringers.
Is that a zinger? Too far. Too far.
I'm like ringer.
We'll edit that. We'll edit that out.
I thought about one thing we don't edit out. It's like one of those like a hanging chad. It just sits there forever.
That's how we can remember.
The hanging chad. Well, let's take some time here before we delve into the good part of the show. This awkward banter is going nowhere fast. We'll throw it over to Vishal and take a look at his T-shirt for this evening. And V's Tea, sponsored by 80s Tees. Vishal, what you got on?
As some of you may or may not have known, I have been fasting for the last week. It is a religious time in the Jain religion, and I've been fasting, and so I decided to wear my I'm on the Ninja Diet shirt.
How
and
appropriate.
For the audio listeners, it is a picture of a turtle eating some pizza. Little callback to the Ninja Turtles.
Saying he's on the Ninja Diet.
Who sometimes like a slice or two of pizza.
Indulge in
a whole pizza. But that is my T-shirt for today.
Woo!
Woo!
All right, that was V's Tees for this episode of the podcast. Visit 80stees.com, enter the promo code OpenColor30 at checkout. Save yourself 30% on your purchase. 80stees.com. Celebrate your inner 80s kid with the raddest retro t-shirts and pop culture gear. All right, so we plugged it last week, and so we're going to go into it this week, and that is the TV show
March Madness
tournament. Now, I know quite the people who are not looking forward to this. Wifem is the one. But we are pumped. And so let's get started with which, I'm not going to say the seeds per se, because I think it gives an unfair advantage of where we think things will go. So I'm just going to read a brief synopsis based on the number of votes between the three of us. That'll be the one that makes its way through. So this show chronicles the events of the widowed father, Danny Tanner, who enlists his brother-in-law, Jesse Katsopoulos, and best friend Joey Gladstone to help raise his three daughters, eldest DJ, middle Stephanie, and youngest Michelle, in his San Francisco home. It aired from September 22nd, 1987 through May of 1995, spanning 8 seasons.
America's Funniest Home Videos.
That's right. Ryan, please wait. You have to buzz in before you give your answer. This is Full House. Let's crank it up for those who can't hear. You guys can say cut whenever you guys have had enough of this.
Memories of that grass field.
People talking to the camera, you can't hear the voices.
That hair, Jesse's hair.
Him laughing at the tree with his guitar. Danny Tanner waxing his car.
The dog.
Comet, for those who don't know. So we good? Cut it here?
Yep.
Yeah, I've had enough.
I remember it.
I know why it's called Full House, because I'm already done.
All right, we know.
Okay, so we know where Ryan is on that one.
What's Full House up against?
Okay, so
Give me its
going up
opponent.
against Full House is
Sorry.
well, you're not too far off, but you're a little far off. This show set in a bar named Cheers. I won't give it away. Just let me finish this before I try to guess what show it is. Where a group of locals meet to drink, relax, and socialize. The show's main theme song, co-written and performed by Gary Portnoy, lent its refrain, "Where everyone knows your name," as the show's catchphrase. Debuting September 30th, 1902, this is, of course, Cheers. Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Brand new in the boss today. Oops.
That's okay. I got it.
I don't know why it stops.
All right, let's discuss.
Let's discuss.
Okay, so I've been to Cheers. That doesn't sway my vote one way or another.
I also have been, and it also does not sway my vote. I watched more Full House than I watched Cheers. I did watch both, but I definitely watched more Full House. I think my vote still goes for Cheers, just based on the
theme song of Cheers is pretty iconic.
Yeah, exactly. Just it's a lot of people remember the theme song for Full House once they hear it, but maybe not if they haven't heard it for a while. Like if you just asked me about it before, I probably wouldn't have remembered.
No, I'd have to hear it again.
Yeah, as soon as you started playing it, I'm like, yep, instantly it's in my head.
But Cheers.
Yeah.
You hear the first few keys and you're like, you already have it. Yeah. You already know it.
Yeah.
At the same time, if you want to talk nostalgia, the Full House song is one that's parodied all the time now for various sports teams and mainly sports teams doing the opening credits montage, referencing their new players and things like that. Seen the thing that
Lakers. Yeah, I haven't seen that too often.
Oh, you haven't? No.
I think that's more about the choreography and less about the song itself,
the corniness of the show.
Yes, I don't think that has to do with the song.
The decade where it came out.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I say Cheers.
So Cheers. That's
Thank God.
Unanimously, cheers. All right, guys, cheers.
All right, so Full House is moving on. Just
Full House goes to the loser bracket.
Stay tuned for 4 weeks from now when we do the consolation round.
relegation rounds, guys. Okay, so moving on to premiering on September 22nd of 1989. 1989. This show featuring the Winslow family is a pretty normal family, except for one thing: their neighbor Steve Urkel. Genius and klutz. Can't live that down. They're a genius and klutz. Steve makes some really weird inventions while driving the Winslows insane. This is Family Matters.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find.
See, like Full House, you kind of have to get into it to get to the chorus, right? Okay. And in the red corner, debuting in 1982. Also, on September 22nd, this show reflected the move in the United States from the cultural liberalism of the 1960s into the 70s, more conservative of the 80s. This was particularly expressed through the relationship between young Republican Alex P. Keaton and his hippie parents, Stephen and Elise Keaton. This is Family Ties.
Been together for a million years. And I bet we'll be
You good?
Yeah.
I think what's more iconic about that show is not so much the song, it's the credits with the painting of the picture. I remember that more so than the song. It was the paintbrush.
I really don't remember. That was another one where if you had asked me to name either one of the, or if you'd asked me to sing either one of those songs, I wouldn't have been able to right away. Family Matters, though, as soon as it started playing, all the words came back.
It made me want to have theme songs like that again.
Yes, absolutely. Family Ties, still good, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't as memorable, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Family Matters here. Jaleel White, you're still in my heart. Family Matters moves on, in my opinion.
Jaleel White forever.
Okay, next up. This show follows the lives of the Seaver family, in particular the hijinks of eldest son Mike, debuting in September 24th of 1985. This is Growing Pains.
Oh, I thought it was Leave It to Seaver.
Missed opportunity, I think so.
Yeah, cut.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Already over it. Okay.
Red corner.
Red corner. Wearing the purple trunks. Debuting March 25th of 1986, the series chronicles the rocky coexistence between Midwestern American Larry Appleton and his distant cousin from a Middle Eastern country of Europe, Balky. This is Perfect Strangers. No contest, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's no contest for me.
Yeah, Perfect Strangers.
TKO first round.
Just with Balky and Appleton.
Don't be ridiculous. All right. It's a victory lap at this point, I think.
That brings back a lot of memories.
So over the top. And it has nothing at all related to the show.
No.
That's what makes it perfect.
Aside
the goats and stuff
this.
on the side.
We discussed this before. I don't think I could tell you anything about the show, but I know the theme song from
I feel like I can remember what their apartment looked like perfectly.
Perfect Strangerly?
Perfectly Strangerly. Okay, so let's move on here. And we get to our final round one
of the 80s
matchup
bracket.
of the 80s bracket, and then we'll do 90s next week. So this show debuted on September 14th, 1985. It's centered around 4 older single women, 3 widows and 1 divorcee,
Betty
sharing a house in Miami, Florida. We all know Blanche, Rose, Dorothy, and Sophia. This is Golden Girls.
Thank you for being a friend.
Oh, you gotta turn that up.
Yeah.
I'll turn
Not because he needs to hear it, because he just wants the feel, the vibe.
Yeah, I gotta feel it. You gotta feel the shoulder pads.
I want to feel it in my bones.
It's your brittle old bones, your osteoporosis bones.
You would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
See, this one didn't need a minute, man.
No.
Like the rest of them, they're all a minute long.
That was it.
That was it. They got it across. And going toe-to-toe, a reboot of the Disney Channel series Good Morning Miss Bliss. This show follows a group of high school friends and their principal, primarily focusing on lighthearted comedic situations. It occasionally touches on serious social issues such as drug use, driving under influence, homelessness, remarriage, death, women's rights, and environmental issues.
Before you start, all of those things that you talked about are all the episodes of
Zach Morris.
Zach Morris. Sucks.
Premiering on August 20th, 1989. This, of course, is Saved by the Bell.
I'm really mad you put these two together.
Yeah, I am really mad you put them together.
Like, why couldn't this have waited till the second round? Like,
right?
why did this bracket line up?
This is like you know when like 2 really good teams play in like the quarterfinal and we say like this is basically the Super Bowl we're watching.
Exactly.
Right now?
Yeah. Like
I
this
think
is the
that's
final.
Yeah.
So it's the Spurs and Rockets. Sorry, it's the Warriors and Rockets right now.
Saved by the Bell. You have to. Yeah, you have to.
Okay, win me over on Saved by the Bell.
For me, the Golden Girls is like, you know, it's that feel good song that, you know, you want to be 80 already just so you can enjoy this. So
does Saved by the Bell make you feel like you want to be back in high school though?
It makes me want to go back to watch Saved by the Bell. Is what it wants me to do. Okay. It's such an like Saved by the Bell is just that song where like.
See, I would argue that the Golden Girls theme song is the more iconic song.
It's timeless.
Exactly. You might not appreciate it until you're 80, but you have to wait until you get there. So you have to just keep listening to it. I'm going Golden Girls.
Gotta be a friend.
I gotta be Saved by the Bell. I am Saved by the Bell.
Wow, I'm the tiebreaker, eh?
Also, I'm just gonna point out that like I'm now Corey. You can fact check me on this. Okay. But like, doesn't the girl who sings that Golden Girl song is she not of Caucasian descent? Sounds like.
Yeah, what is that?
How can it has a lot to do.
Are you playing the race card to a brown person?
Why you gotta be like that?
I'm playing the race card to win a make believe tournament. I'm just saying, like, why, like
you were right. This is gonna kill the show. I mean, you said it.
You're gonna. I don't know who actually sings it. Maybe I'm wrong. It sounded like it. I just don't like. Why either include somebody of African American descent in the show or have a white girl sing it. You can't have it's too. You're intermingling it too.
I'm gonna say one thing. It's in Florida. Enough said.
Yeah, that's true. Fair point.
Damn it.
I can see.
All right, Corey.
Anyways,
what do we got for this one?
I'm still sticking with Saved by the Bell.
This is a tough call.
It is. That's why you shouldn't have put this together in the first round.
Yeah,
this is Federer versus Djokovic in the first round.
I'm settling on racism to win this.
Okay.
Like,
ageism,
racism and ageism. I'm gonna be. The network's gonna drop us
just because of how fired up he is. I'm gonna give Saved by the Bell one more pass.
Yes. Sorry,
Unreal.
Golden Girls, and sorry whoever sings the theme to Golden Girls. It's
Cynthia Fee, and yes, she is Caucasian.
no shit. Well, that aged well.
My question is the no shit as in like no shit I'm right, or no shit you were like you threw out something out there and you just happened to hit the nail on the head.
Both.
What is it, Ryan? Both? All right, so that is I didn't play the theme song.
And now the TV show theme song tournament.
So that concludes the TV theme tournament for this week. Next week we'll have the 90s, which will feature Fresh Prince, King of Queens, A Different World, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, Boy Meets World, Blossom, Step by Step, and Friends. So get your brackets ready. And when we return,
we're gonna be busting.
And then when we return, we'll do round 2 of the 80s, where we have our victors: Perfect Strangers, Family Matters, Cheers, and Saved by the Bell, who made it through.
I'm upset the Golden Girls aren't through, but
hey, somebody had to go down in the first round.
It had to be done.
It had to be done.
Not like this.
Hey,
the Golden Girls deserve better. They're golden for a reason, okay? They're not the silver girls. They're not the bronze girls.
They were
the golden girls for a reason.
Hey,
that's all I have to say.
They went down swinging. And now that they're down, they can press their life alert and someone will come pick them up.
So, Steve Urkel can I've fallen and I can't get up.
That's right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit movie news. And with that, we'll throw a shout out to our latest partner, videoeta.com. Head on over there if you want to buy some movies. Enter the promo code CALLER. Save yourself anywhere between 5 and 25%. That's videoeta.com. videoeta.com. Big news came out today, which I guess it's true because other people corroborated, but then other people said not so much. But Mr. Henry Cavil is no longer going to be Superman.
That's what I hear.
I did hear that.
And then his agent said, yeah, he is. And then Warner Brothers said, yeah, he is. So he isn't.
I would say he's not. I'm the thing I read about it was, I can't remember who said it, but basically they were comparing Superman to James Bond and how every few movies there's a new James Bond and it's not a big deal. The James Bond saga continues, and that the Superman saga will also continue going forward. It's a weird, I guess, if DC wants to continue doing, sort of like a expanded universe like Marvel's been doing, then that makes it a bit tougher. But like their universe is kind of crappy. So, if they decide not to kind of go toe to toe with Marvel and just do their own thing and have individual movies, maybe you get a crossover, maybe you don't, then it's not a big deal really who plays whom.
Yeah.
Because apparently like Ben Affleck is not really wanting to be Batman anymore either. So it's not like they're just going to do a full reboot of the DCEU. They'll just have different characters, play different people play those characters. And I'm okay with that for DC. I think that it would throw a huge wrench into Marvel's play, but I think with DC, I think it's a fine. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of his, especially as Superman.
Or just in general?
Just especially as Superman, but and that could be related to how just bad I think the last 3 movies with him being Superman have been. But I mean, I thought that he was a better role in the new Mission Impossible movie, not as a lead guy. Yeah, I did end up seeing it. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. But I guess I don't prefer him in the Superman role. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's gonna branch out and do other stuff, then that's great for him. And if DC is also okay with having different people play Superman, then good for them too. I think it's a win-win
I think it's
Or-
inevitable anyways. Like, I don't think you can have somebody like, it's not like he's the first Superman to ever play Superman. Like, there's already been more. So what's the big deal if somebody else does it from this point forward?
Exactly. I think the only, like I said, the only big deal would be if they plan on continuing their universe, and then they just have different people like floating in and out as the same character. Then that makes it seem a bit disjointed.
Tim
But-
Burton had 3 Batmans. We're still
Two.
here.
Yeah,
He had 2
Didn't-
Batmans.
too.
Didn't he direct all 3? No, am I wrong on that?
Tim
I gotta
Burton? Tim
Yeah.
Burton did Batman, Batman Returns. Joel Schumacher did Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And Chris Nolan did the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, see, I thought Tim Burton did Batman
he was
Forever.
going to, but then he walked. And then so did Michael Keaton.
That's fair. But yeah, I'm the news. It doesn't super surprise me, and it I also not yeah, classic.
Oh boy.
And what else we have in movie news?
Oh,
Yeah.
Did you know I came across this busy at work? They're coming out with a live action Cruella de Vil movie.
Oh, that's necessary.
It is.
Yeah.
And
How
Emma
many
Stone,
dogs will there be?
There will be 101.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, it's only 102 down there. I think it's
Hey,
Emma
Why?
Stone. Yeah, Emma Stone's going to be playing the role, apparently. This is pre-production, of course, and a lot can change, but I did come across this.
Now, how did you come across this?
Googling Halloween costumes, of course.
Yeah, honestly, I don't remember. I was just like screwing around on IMDb, and like I came across it somehow. I was in that part. It was like, that saying, I'm in that part of YouTube. I was in that part of IMDb.
Just going down a dark path, Ryan.
A dark, dark path. A dark, dark racist path.
Hey, go Browns.
I saw this. I guess you can kind of call it tech or movies, however you wish. But I saw an article stating that Apple can just delete your digital movies whenever they want to.
That doesn't seem fair.
It all has to do with licensing through like content owners. So you can buy basically. The story is this guy had 2 movies that he bought through iTunes that were he got an email saying that they were being removed from the iTunes store, even though he owned them, because their deal with this content provider has lapsed. So in return of the movies that he bought, so you're probably looking at $20 per movie, they were giving him 2 free rentals.
I don't think 2 rentals equals having 2 movies.
Yeah.
Right? So this is just pushes back to this guy's like long Twitter thread, just brings the point of, should we now stick with physical media because of things like this? So if you were to buy anything on iTunes or I guess it was Google Play, if Google doesn't have the right to sell it anymore and they can just have that pulled, you can't access it anymore. Did you actually ever really own it?
I feel like I've been streaming way more than buying, like by a long shot.
Yeah.
But I get disappointed every once in a while when, say, Netflix and Disney, their deal's gonna end soon or whatever, and a lot of the movies are gonna be off Netflix. But I'm much more okay with that because I'm paying for the service, and yeah, if they're not allowed to host that movie anymore, then that's fine. I also don't have access to it. That I feel like the buying it and then them being like, oh yeah, by the way, our license with them, didn't get renewed, or we decided to go separate ways. Like, that sucks. You paid for it. You should be able to keep it at that point.
Yeah.
And they should just be able to say, all right, you don't have the iTunes version of it because it's not there, but at least give them more than a rental, like give them another purchase.
Yeah, so essentially what Apple's kind of saying is that they're more of a storefront rather than a store. So it's like people said before, like they used to go back and like someone bought like a stereo from a store and they open up, it was just like bricks in it to weigh it down, make it seem like it was a stereo, and like you're kind of screwed that way because there's no way to prove that you didn't just put this in the box.
Right, but like on the other hand, if you go to a Blockbuster and buy that movie, and then Blockbuster decides not to carry that movie anymore,
You still have that
you
movie.
still have that movie.
It's true.
But I guess that's the physical.
Although you don't have a
that's-
Blockbuster anymore.
Yeah, there's one.
There's that one.
Yeah. But yeah, like that's the argument of getting physical media, because that way they can't really take it back from you.
So is
But-
the moral of the lesson here to
Don't trust Apple more than anything.
Yeah.
well,
seriously.
that's that. So buy your DVDs and do that through videoeta.com.
There you go.
Promo code caller.
Say 5 to 25%.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Get it?
So we're in the thick of things with football now, and hockey's coming back. But the main sports story this weekend was one Serena Williams. Now, for those unaware, she had a match with
Naomi Osaka.
That's right. And I guess in the match, it was pointed out that she was getting some signals, like coaching from her coach, which is a no-no in the tennis world. And then from there, she proceeded to become agitated, argue with the umpires or ref or whomever, whatever you want to call them.
The ref. Yep.
And I guess through the arguments, she called him a thief or something like that. And then
That was a bit later on.
and then she was docked a game and ended up subsequently losing the match, but she was already losing the match anyway.
Yeah.
So who knows if that really affected things, but everyone's saying it's a sexist move by docking her a game because of that has not happened before. And I guess it hasn't happened before in either gender. So, but
It's
still.
definitely not in a finals. Like that's, it's equivalent to a ref calling a 50-50 call in hockey in the Stanley Cup Finals in the third period when there's like 10 minutes left.
Goaltender interference.
Yeah, like you let them play at that point. So when you told me about this, I hadn't had a chance to actually see what had happened, but I did go back and I watched the entire match, and yeah, like Naomi Osaka was gonna win regardless. It sucks that it happened this way because it almost seemed like her victory got tainted a little, but she was going to win no matter what. She was just better than Serena that day. Although I don't know, I'm on both sides of the argument that like the coaching thing, they interviewed the coach and he's like, yeah, of course I was coaching. Everybody does it. It just never gets called. It's like, I can't remember, a few episodes ago, Ryan, I think you were talking about the baseball call where the batter's not allowed to step out of
Yeah,
the
and they
batter
just don't
box.
call
They
it.
just don't call it. It's it's at the umpire's discretion, but they just don't call it. So yeah, if in baseball something happens and the umpire decides that, hey, he just wants to call it this time, that's the equivalent of
We're
calling
right here.
a coach's, like, getting signals or whatever. And it's, she was like, I wasn't even looking at the coach, and the coach was just
Yeah, I don't think that
whatever.
matters though.
Exactly.
Like,
And and then she took it offensively, like, to her character, because she prides herself on not being a cheater and standing up for women's rights and all that kind of stuff, which is totally, like, it's fair.
Yeah.
She was saying she was being very vocal about it, but like, yeah, that's totally fine. Like, she's won all her stuff, never failed any sort of drug tests and anything like that. It's always been her.
Right.
But she should know the rule. Like, I'm so,
she knows
like,
the rules. She
yeah,
knows
like,
the rules.
I keep going back and forth because like, yeah, she should know the rules, that is a warning. And then a couple of games later, she smashed her racket, and she knows that a second warning is a point.
Yeah. But again,
So-
guys smash their rackets all the time,
That-
and again,
absolutely.
it never gets called. So
And
sorry, I'll let you finish up, and then
just like there's been McEnroe and Andy Roddick and Andre Agassi, like, so many guys have said so many worse things to refs, swearing, calling, like, actually calling the refs names and
Yeah.
calling them stupid and all this kind of stuff. All she did was call the ref a thief because he stole
Her final.
just because he stole that one point.
Yeah.
Because she thinks that the signal thing should not have been a warning, and that the warning, or like the first offense, should have been the broken racket, which would have been the warning. And she should not have lost that point.
Yeah, but I mean, hindsight's 2020, where you can go ahead and say that now. This is kind of where I'm sort of on the other side, where, all right, so this judge who I did a little bit of research and has a history of being a little bit rigid, a little bit off the wall in terms of his rulings. You just got docked on something stupid. Would the smart thing to do as a professional athlete and somebody who has the proper mindset of Serena Williams, just go shut your mouth, play your final, deal with it after the fact?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. The thing is, just on the other side of it, it wouldn't have even happened if it was a guys match. Like it wouldn't have even come down to that.
But do we know that 100%?
Absolutely. He's
that's where I'm on the other side.
I think so. I think that it's 100% true.
You can't say it's sexist because, in my opinion, it's a women's match where Serena loses, the other girl gains. How can you say that's a sexist play?
It's more so the sexism versus if it was a guys match, it wouldn't have been called. And a lot of guy tennis players, like professionals, have come out and said, yep, 100% true.
But then the other guy could easily say, what the hell? How come you're not calling the coaching?
And now it's going to get called and everything else now.
Well, yeah, because at that point, it's one of those things where it's like, it's going to get called. It's going to be every single play that there's coaching. And then
they're going to do it now because it's made a big stink. So now everyone's.
Well, let's put it this way: would this have been called if it wasn't Serena Williams?
How do we know?
Because she's in the news about every tournament she's in now, every final she's in now. Is it less women, or is this is Serena?
I would have been
again.
I would have been
something's going on
if I looked into it and like the judge is kind of a bit rigid in his rulings and stuff like that. If this was completely off the wall. Yeah, I agree that he didn't have to call it.
No, but he hasn't called a coaching violation
ever.
I'm pretty sure. It's one of those things.
He's called other things that people have looked at.
But it's also it's more so. I think I don't mind the coaching call, and absolutely the racket breaking is a violation. My thing is she called him a thief, and that was it. That was the worst thing she said to him, and like other guys have said worse to him and other refs and not even gotten a warning about it. So he took it as a personal attack, thief. But when people are calling him stupid and asshole and dumb and saying like swearing and all this kind of stuff, he and other refs have just turned the other way.
Maybe his dad was killed by a thief. You don't know.
Maybe, but he should be.
I don't think there's a debate whether I fully support the idea that the call was unfair. We'll say it's unfair just because, like you said, there's just been a lack of calling it in previous play. I'm willing to sign off on it being a little unfair and saying, hey, she got over penalized for something that really didn't need to be over penalized.
Absolutely.
I can sign off on that. Where I'm starting to draw the line is where it all came out. It's like, oh, this is like a sexist thing now. It's this. And I'm like, okay, I think we're trying to progress it out.
Because I don't think she meant sexism like the male ref towards the female player.
You're just saying because it was just guys
like guys and girls tennis in general.
Okay. That's fair. I can sign off on that.
I'm pretty sure that's what she was talking about. And that's what I mean by guys in general have said a lot worse, have made a much bigger stink about lots of different things and not been called on a lot. Every once in a while, yeah, of course they'll get a warning and stuff like that. But the sexism thing, I'm pretty sure on her side was not the male ref towards her, the female player. It was just males versus female tennis players in general.
So
No, I'd have to say that to me that seems like it would almost be the opposite. If these guys are getting yelled at saying much worse, then clearly the offense is it's a woman saying that stuff to you, a man.
Yeah.
To me, that makes more sense than saying how it's reffed.
Yeah.
It's like, well, these guys can say whatever. Yeah, well, okay. Well, then if that's the case, then this is a guy who doesn't like being verbally accosted by a woman.
That would make sense.
That makes more sense than how it's coached, or how it's officiated. But at the end of the day, anyone running their mouth should not be running their mouth. Period. Like I don't know why there is not a rule in there where you can't do it at all.
Well, it is. It's just again, it comes back to V's point of what do you call and what do you not call. What do you let go?
You run your mouth, anyone? Yeah. Boom, game.
I don't know. I just think
soccer, you say anything to a ref, boom, you yellow carded.
It's not Serena's first tournament. Like she should know that she just got pretty much screwed on a coaching misconduct, and maybe not breaking her racket or calling the judge a thief will work to her benefit.
Yeah, like I mean, yes, I still think that she would have lost the match, but it's so the other argument that I've watched her play a bunch, and she does get agitated a lot. And, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, she got a fine at, I can't remember which major it was, but the ref made a call. It was, I think, a line violation on a serve. And she apparently told him that, basically, all right, everyone gets one. You get one bad call, you make another one, and I'm gonna, shove this tennis ball down your throat. Like that sort of threat or that sort of talk, I feel like would warrant much more than a warning. Calling someone a thief, like whatever, like it's pales in comparison. And she didn't get anything. I don't think she may have gotten a warning for saying the tennis ball thing, but she got fined after the fact.
Yeah.
And she also got fined after the fact on this one too. But
on a few things.
Yeah. I think the hardest part, I think, watching the match for me was afterwards when Naomi won and the fans were booing, and that was sad. Like
that's crappy.
She was crying,
America,
and not tears of joy. After she won, usually the winner is like out on the court, waving their racket, hitting tennis balls into the crowd, all that kind of stuff. She did none of that. She went, sat on her chair, covered her head with her towel, and she was clearly crying because she felt like, everyone's going to think it's her first major. She's whatever, 18, 19, I don't know. And everyone's going to think that this was given to her. And it wasn't. Like she played so much better than Serena did. And everyone was booing, and, they should have been cheering for her. Like I don't understand booing anyone in a final. Like they made it there. You can,
especially on a call that had nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
Really.
Exactly. None of them, and like that's tough to do. You're in a sort of mindset, and then when play gets stopped for 5 or 6 or 10 minutes or whatever because of something that doesn't even involve you, like it takes you out of your game. But she stayed in it, did very well. To Serena's point, like to Serena's credit, that her kind of, hey, you got second, what do you think? She basically said, I'm not going to take any questions. Fans, like, stop booing. She did great. She won. And I thought that was very good of her. I think at that point it was like the whole finals was tainted, and just it sucks because the officiating and other stuff basically meant that both players lost. Like nobody won, and it shouldn't have been that way. So that sucks.
Yeah, I can agree on that.
But there's a lot of arguments on both sides of the issue for Serena, like pro Serena and against Serena. I think anyone can pretty much pick a side and have valid arguments for
points,
both.
yeah.
Yeah. And it just sucks. This is going to get talked about for a while. Hopefully there's a rule change about the coaching thing. And, you know, because it seemed like afterwards, everyone was just talking about, well, yeah, everyone does it. Every coach coaches. And I don't know. I hadn't heard that. Like, I knew that they never really talked to their coach and stuff. I didn't realize it was a like huge rule. And it never made sense to me. Like, why wouldn't you? Every other sport has coaches that tell you stuff mid-game that you're like, oh, hey,
Thanks,
by the
coach.
way, yeah, hey, by the way, you know, this guy's limping. Go, like,
Yeah, but those are all team sports, not individual versus individual.
True. That's a
yeah,
good point.
I guess.
I
But
guess the
you're
only
still-
comparison, I guess, maybe boxing, because you have your
Yeah, I guess it's not. Yeah, I guess they're yelling
staff.
mid-match, but most of their
Yeah.
coaching is happening in between rounds.
WWE. Toss him the chair.
Yeah, but that's more your valet
What?
manager than coach.
What about darts? Do they have a coach?
I don't think so.
I don't think
No.
so.
Just the bartender
Yeah.
giving him another beer.
Yeah.
Well, here, I'll ask quickly, because I saw this the other day when somebody recently retired. But if a player retires and you see it like on a ticker or someone does a brief blurb about it, and literally the only thing that's mentioned about it is they're like, oh, like Ryan Karkner's retired today. He's a 5-time All-Star. Did they
Oh,
really
thanks,
have?
man.
Did they really have anything? Is that accomplishment? Really?
Sure.
At the end of the day,
Being a
considering most of it now,
five-time
especially in this era where like the All-Star games are fan votes.
yeah.
Like, you're not there by your accomplishment. You're there because of somebody likes you, and then especially when they have like
Well, that's what they
the joke,
that's what they put when you haven't won anything.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, there's nothing they could have said else in your career. Oh, he's a 5-time Pro Bowler.
And a fine guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Also,
know. What do you want them to put?
God.
Ryan Karkner retired. That is all.
Well, I mean, they
Simpson
could put,
homer.
yeah, they could put other stats, you know, like if it was football, they could be like this many, you know,
Goal-
lifetime rushing yards and
touchdowns, yeah.
all that
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
stuff. Like there's
Like when
I'm
Chris Neal retired, I'm pretty sure they showed like his penalty
fighting
minutes.
stats. Yeah.
And yeah,
I think I'd rather
his
have
pins.
the All-Stars.
Well, he was a 0 All-Star, right? So I guess you have to find something. But
Yeah,
I
well, that's what I
just
mean.
thought it was funny again, and just in this era where it's all fan voting, if that's really a warranted accomplishment.
Even just lifetime stats, I don't see why they wouldn't put like if a
He
goalie
played 2,000
retires,
games, scored 6 goals.
yeah, like who cares? It doesn't really matter what the
I'd be
stat.
like, hey, he played 2,000 games and only got 6 goals, but they let him play for 2,000 games.
Yeah.
Just seems like poor managing, if anything.
He was he only played on one team. He played for 20 years. Scored twice.
He played 100 games a season. How did they? 82 games plus another. So he must have at least won a couple cups.
No, they just kept sending him to the different leagues. To the farm team, to the ECHL team, to
Just random. He just marks them down in his garage.
a couple ball hockey tournaments.
Speaking of record, okay, I just
oh,
want
go
to say this one record I saw. It was a while ago. It was a few weeks ago, but I saw this thing that was talking about like just how far and away like Gretzky's point total record is from anyone else's, and they were saying that from the time that Gretzky scored his last point, if he had played every single game from then until now and not scored any point, not gotten any goals or assists, he would still have more points per game. Oh no, he would still average a point a game.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. He was averaging so many points per game that from when he scored his last point till now, from not playing, he still would have been averaging a point a game. And that's ridiculous.
That is pretty insane.
And that's why no one's even going to come close to like getting his point total. And again, different leagues, different eras, different
all that.
rules, all that kind of stuff. But that's still a very impressive feat.
If he did not wear 99, do you think he would have retired in 1999?
I think he would have retired. I think he I think he had his hockey career, like he did everything at the right time.
He did everything right.
I think the Rangers wanted to sign him for at least another season.
I think teams still want to sign him. He's averaging a point per game.
Absolutely.
I just wondered, just like he thinks, nope, can't do it. If I do that, it's 00, and you can't wear that number. You think there will ever be not that there'll ever be another aggressive, but it'd be another league that will retire the number of a player so that no one could ever wear it?
No, I think it's too hard now.
If they were going to do it, it would have
been Michael Jordan.
Well, even then, Will Chamberlain did get 100 points in a game that no one ever will do. I don't think.
No, absolutely not. It could happen in an all-star game that goes to quadruple overtime when the score is 400 to 392.
A Harlem Globetrotters game. I thought the Generals were due.
I don't think the Generals will get more than a couple baskets, to be honest. Wasn't there a time where they did win? And there's people were thinking that was a mistake.
Bizarro world.
Imagine going to the Harlem Globetrotters game where the Generals win.
And just blow them out, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close, guys.
That'd be amazing, though. You could say that you were at a game.
That game.
You were at that game.
I kept doing behind the back half-court shots. The lane was clear.
He's literally spinning the ball on his finger.
That'd be the game that ref calls traveling. Getting back to the Serena Williams, the non-call calls.
The calls that should be called.
Yeah. Because what is it now? You get
6 steps at least.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Now is it steps? Or you get to little leaps 6 times? So you're from one end to the other?
Yeah. Yeah, their steps are pretty big. They can inbound a ball, take 6 steps, and be at the other 3-point line anyway. It really doesn't even matter. Whether they bounce the ball or not, the game's it's whatever.
Did they ever have that actual package you can sign up for where you just watch the last 2 minutes of all the games? I never saw that advertised anymore, but I did hear that they were going to do it. So basically it's a league pass, but you only sign up to be alerted for the last couple minutes of a game, and then that's what you watch.
For every sport or just for basketball?
No, just for basketball.
Oh, okay, because I feel that's a half hour of viewing right there.
Well, yeah, so the last 2 minutes of basketball could be an hour, especially in playoffs.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I only ever watched the Raptors the last couple of seasons, because that's where in some cases that was the most nerve-wracking. And yeah, exactly. Especially when you're playing the Rockets and shit like that.
Apparently Kawhi Leonard is down to play in Toronto now.
Well, yeah, for the year.
Yeah.
And then he going.
It's it's something.
I wanted to get to this point. I missed it earlier when we were talking about movies, but the popular film category we talked about is not happening anymore.
Yes, I saw that.
So we did it. Our complaining worked.
Way to go. You're welcome, everybody. You can take open color.
The CEO of the Academy of Motion Pictures said that there was a wide range of reactions to the introduction of the new award, and we recognize the need for further discussion with our members. We have made changes to the Oscars over the years, including this year, and we will continue to evolve while also respecting the incredible legacy of the last 90 years. I don't know anyone who said it was a good idea. But
I'm sure people tried to make arguments for it, just kind of playing devil's advocate. But yeah, I doubt they meant that sincerely.
Throw it over to you, Ryan. Anything to add before we wrap up this show?
I'm still looking at the theme songs and who sang them.
Oh my god!
And I'm trying to make the connection, and it's all Caucasian singers. I'm onto something.
In the 80s?
We'll see. Yeah, in the 80s. I'm onto something. There was a time of, what's the word I'm looking for? Bigotry in the theme song industry in the 80s.
Keep digging, Ryan. Let's.
I will find it.
That is the hill you're going to die on.
That is the hill I will die on. As people dig through I'm sure in 30 years, they'll say, Ryan, you can't be the president.
You hated Golden Girls.
You accused the girl who sang the Golden Girls song of being black.
No, I was very clear in saying that she was white.
Yeah, no. I just all I'm saying, sir. I think you need to leave.
The Oval Office is not for you.
Yeah. President Serena Williams will see you.
Yeah, she heard what you said about the
Hear what
line
you-
violations.
Did you hear what you said about her 2018 U.S. Open final? And
Sure
what
you
you
were
said
against
about the Golden Girls. No, that's it for me.
Shit. There was another bear sighting in Gatineau today.
What?
Oh yeah, did we even get to talk about the byword bear?
We did.
Well, we
you weren't
did.
here.
You didn't.
I had so many.
Even when you weren't here, it was still the
It's about
Bears.
the Bears. Even when you're here, it's about the Bears.
I was so excited. I had all the Bear Patrol quotes lined up.
You just bear market Google Simpsons quotes.
Yes.
This one unfortunately was euthanized, so
Ooh.
this will not affect the bear tax.
Let the Bears pay the bear tax.
Let Ryan pay the homeowner tax.
That's the homeowner tax. This is the biggest tax hike in history. So good. For those for our viewers, if you have not seen that episode of The Simpsons where there's a bear, go watch it immediately.
Yeah, it's mainly about immigrants,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a touchy subject right now, Ryan.
Yeah.
But even when it was about them,
It was about the Bears.
It was the Bears.
Okay, as the wheels are falling off here, we'll throw in a bad dad joke if everyone has time.
Please.
Okay, let me just ask you this: how do you organize an outer space party?
You plan it?
You got it.
Yes. That joke champion 2018.
First, it was the Saved by the Bell save, and now it's the dad joke.
Today's been a good day on Open Collar.
Everything's coming up, Ryan. That's Open Collar for this week. Follow the show socially, facebook.com/Open Collar Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, Open Collar Pod. For Michelle, Ryan, this is Corey, reminding you to keep it casual.
see you later.
That's it. That's all.